Hey, Boy Manning here. Welcome to a news edition of the Garden Report. Not a ton going on in the NBA world right now, certainly not with the Celtics, other than officially signing Denzel Valentine to this growing group of tryouts at the bottom of the roster right now. Could be 1-2 more bodies to come into camp as we get going in just about a month. Celtics going to be rounding back together and pushing toward the first preseason game, which I believe is in early October. For now, all we got to talk about for the most part, we'll do a full group edition of the Garden Report later in the week and talk about this more, I'm sure, is Jayson Tatum's interview with Taylor Rooks. Great Taylor Rooks of Bleacher Report revealed that Tatum played in the postseason with something of a fractured wrist, a small non-displaced fracture in his left wrist that healed over, got aggravated by a breakout dunk against the Bucks. One I remember well in Game 3. I remember he had a rap on it after Game 2. We asked him about it. He didn't make a big deal out of it. Here's actually what he said at the time.
Is that a brace on your left wrist? What happened there?
No, this is just a great tape job wrap. You know, my famous trainer, Nick, wrapped my hand up. He's a little excessive, so that's why I look like that. But I'm all right. I just fell, keep the swelling down.
So next game, believe it's the early portion of that game, 1-2 possession game. He breaks out on a steal. Giannis chases him down. Giannis meets him at the basket. They collide. Tatum comes down and is grabbing at that wrist in a heap of pain. I thought we had the nice direct aerial view over the top of it. He might have broken his wrist or something. It was a eerie moment in that game, in that series that was 1-1 at that point. And he ends up getting up, playing it out, ends up being fine. But this is a long-running ailment, as he puts it here in this interview. He said he played for 2 months through it in the late stages of the season. Talked about having issues with his watch, picking up plates around the house. Ended up getting it checked out and had to wear a wrist to keep it stabilized even when he was sleeping. He's in a ton of pain. Couldn't push his wrist back. The most important thing he said, if anyone knows me, my teammates, I never want to miss a game. I've tried to play every game of the season that I can. I hate coming out. I hate being subbed out. I hate missing games. So I pushed it to the side. I didn't go get checked out before the All-Star break. Weeks passed. Ultimately, does get it looked at after the first round. And the scans revealed he was playing through a fracture. So at that point, it flares up again after the collision with Giannis. Tatum said, I fell into the crowd. That was the most painful it's been since the day that I heard it. I ended up getting a cortisone shot in my wrist that night. So Tatum doesn't ultimately reveal it. He said he wore the wrap outside of the views of the camera. He'd take it off when he came back to play. Said everybody's banged up, a little hurt. If you're injured, then you can't play. But that was the whole reason why I was scared to get an MRI, because I was like, something's wrong, but I don't want anyone to tell me that I can't play. So Tatum not making any excuses, as he goes on to say in the interview, but I like hearing what was potentially wrong in the later stages of that postseason. Now, if this was something he was playing with for 2 months, he rounded out an All-NBA season in the later stretches of the regular season, playing through that ailment. And round 1 was fantastic, played through it then. Round 2, he had the game of his life in Game 6 against the Bucks. So certainly the wrist wasn't the reason that his play deteriorated against the Heat, against the Warriors. If this is somehow a later attempt at getting an excuse out there, which it doesn't sound like, the way he's playing it, he says he wants to play. If you're out there, you're going to get judged on how you play, whether you're hurt or not. Everyone's going through stuff. This is the approach Tatum took, particularly with the shoulder.
tired after the season? I mean, you went to the Olympics. Did you be a little bit more tired than usual? And how's your health in terms of your shoulder and just your overall body?
Yeah, I was more tired. It's just a longer season than I've ever played. But shoulder feel good. I got enough rest, so my body feel really good.
The only question you have out of this is, can a guy like Tatum play through multiple ailments deep into a postseason? Will it impact him? We all kind of saw the blank look he had on his face in the finals, though I think we all look at that series in particular and assume that it was more mental than physical, what he was going through. The decision-making, the consistency, the shooting, and even the competitiveness. You looked at Brown biting back at some of Draymond Green's antics and things that the Warriors were doing. Tatum, meanwhile, seemed to be coasting out there a little bit. And there were moments throughout the postseason where he got his head wrapped up with the officiating, didn't get back on defense in that Bucks series. A moment I asked him about that, he almost just put his head down right away and was like, yeah, I screwed up in that moment. So I don't mind him saying this again. Didn't say it in the moment. I would have liked to have heard the truth on the wrist in the moment, the truth on the shoulder in the moment. You know, you want to hear what the possible issues were that led to his production being what it was. 100 turnovers, the most in postseason history. Doesn't seem like either of them were the root cause, though. So what are we talking about here? Not much, ultimately. Tatum just shedding a little light on what his health status ultimately was in the postseason. I'm sure you ask other guys, they had similar ailments, similar injuries hampering them. The Miami Heat certainly had them up and down their lineup. Tyler Hero with, I believe it was the hamstring. Butler was banged up. Kyle Lowry wasn't even close to being himself. And you also had a number of other Heat, PJ Tucker in particular, who wouldn't even let on when he was hurting in that series to Eric Spoelstra. Spoelstra just saying, I'm not even going to ask. So guys go through that stuff, just more publicized when you say it in a Bleacher Report interview. He goes on to address the Kevin Durant workout that we dug into him a little bit last week, I think rightfully so, amid the height of the Jaylen Brown rumors appearing in a picture from a workout with Kevin Durant doing this at the height of uncertainty regarding his teammates' future. He says, being Jayson Tatum, it's like they exaggerate everything I do. I've known KD since I was in high school. We were on Team USA together. We spent 5 weeks together last week from Vegas to Tokyo. We won a gold medal. We have a bond. Like, that's my brother. And it's like, I'm not too proud to say KD's one of the best players ever. So it's like, one of the best players ever wants to work out with you and I can learn something from him. Why would I say no? We addressed it. Brown's in rumors that are ongoing regarding his future with the team. Maybe Tatum doesn't know about him. Hard to believe. Maybe they hashed it out and talked about it. That would be good. Doesn't necessarily alleviate Brown logging online and seeing that, especially if they're not talking consistently, which when we talked to Tatum, that seemed to be the deal. Guys were going to check in on each other occasionally as they're off with vacation or traveling abroad, as Brown was through the height of those rumors, as he was out in Spain. So, are Tatum and Brown talking every day through this? Potentially. I also think it's possible that the photo just dropped online and that's how Brown discovered it. Why would he say anything if Tatum doesn't think this could potentially be a problem here? If you worry too much about what other people think, you're going to drive yourself crazy, he said. And it's crazy that I can't work out with somebody. That's all it was. We were working out together trying to get better. Again, that's probably true. It's the optics. It's the leadership burden that Tatum bears at this point, as well as the communication factor to this whole Brown-Durant saga. It's got to be better. You got to have guys standing up for Brown on the team. You got to have guys vocally saying, we want Brown here. We made the NBA Finals last year. We don't want this changed. We're not doing this. And I get that they don't want to interfere with whatever the front office may or may not be doing right now, ongoing in negotiations, whatever it may be. These could all be reasons that they don't want to step on the toes of something that they probably don't fully know what's going on and what isn't. Tatum, more than Grant Williams, I believe, would be involved in these kind of conversations. So it's a little more frustrating to see Tatum continue to dance around the subject, not comment on it, not definitively back Brown, and at that camp, not even take questions about it. So this isn't great leadership on this front. I don't care about the wrist thing. Again, I like to hear that we know what was wrong with Tatum during that run, factor in however we may, and then we can all have our different opinions on whether it impacted him or not. It doesn't seem like it was a major factor in his playoff success. This Durant rumor, as it continues to linger here, could be a real thing that hangs over the team this season, particularly if it isn't shut down early in camp like we talked about in last week's episode. We had a good discussion about that. You should go check out the Garden Report from last week. We will have a film study coming up later in the week, as well as our regularly scheduled edition of the show, per usual, brought to you by Athletic Greens. Go over to Athletic Greens right now. I started taking it because I want to get better gut health, more energy, immune system into the winter. That's going to be important. Get a head start on it. You don't want to take pills, vitamins, all these different things in different places, the supplements, the protein powder, whatever it is. I've been on it going on a month and a half now, feeling good. You can see the skin glowing. You can see the energy even as I record this late at night. Why? Because I'm getting 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, probiotics, adaptogens when I take AG1, which is just a scoop of this green powder. Throw it in water. You get yourself a nice green juice. And it's got a nice tropical flavor, as we say here. Like it really doesn't taste as bad as some of these other rival competition green drinks that you can imagine. And it's going to help with your digestion, your energy, and it's so simple. Again, throw it back with your water in the morning. Please support the Garden Report, support AG1. Email your receipt. You can go get a month subscription or whatever you want to do to try this right now. They're going to give you 5 free travel packs, a year's supply of vitamin D, and if you email the receipt to @John_Zanis on Twitter, you're going to get a phenomenal t-shirt. Garden Report t-shirt actually says phenomenal. You can't beat that. You can't beat this offer. That's athleticgreens.com/garden. Go take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. That's athleticgreens.com/garden. Year's supply of vitamin D, 5 free travel packs, and you'll be supporting CLNS Media and the Garden Report. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about a Celtics player and how he could potentially help the Celtics later in the week. And stay tuned for when we'll actually do our live show this week. I'm Bobby Manning for the Garden Report for CLNS Media. Talk to you soon.